So, thank you, Mr. KT Ramarao, for coming over today morning exclusively for BNI members. Let me tell you a bit about BNI. We are not hustlers, but we are givers. We joined BNI with the sole purpose of giving business to the room, and we wholeheartedly believe in what goes around. BNI is present in 79 countries with over 310,000 members. In the last 12 months, we did business worth $20.4 billion US. In India, it is present in 126 cities with 1,135 chapters, having around 55,000 plus members. In the last 12 months, members in BNI did more than 35,000 crores of business. And none of the business done here is with kickbacks or commissions. BNI members are actively supported by regional, national, and global BNI staff that provide training, structure, and technology needed to help them grow their businesses and exceed their goals. We are very structured. So I suggest while we talk, we can also use this platform to promote and inform about government schemes to the MSMEs and the small business industries. Yeah. I would like to bring, since we are here, I recollect we had met earlier at an event which common friends Kiran and Dr. Sanjay had organized for roundtablers. And that was the first time you had won the election of the new state. And you were so clear and detailed about your vision for Telangana. And it is for all of us to see that you have far exceeded that. Yeah. But still, I think it's a long way to go. Yeah. So today again, it is time for the new upgrade of the state, 3.0 as we call it, your third term in power. So please tell us what features it brings. In plain words, what is your plan of action for the next 5 years?
Firstly, thank you. I sincerely thank all of you and also sincerely apologize for showing up 20 minutes late because, you know, election season hai, to unforeseen कुछ होते हैं, तो इस वजह से थोड़ा लेट हो गया, माफी चाहता हूँ. Thank you, very kind words, very kind introduction, and I'm glad you said 3.0 and after your third term, so I guess you're already decided that you're coming back. And unlike a journalist who interviewed me the other day, you know, she kept saying if you're voted back to power. I kept saying when I am voted back to power. So she said, इतना confidence. मैंने कहा हाँ, हैदराबादियों पे मुझे इतना confidence है, हम वापस आएंगे और चप्पड़ फाड़ के इस बार
100%
अच्छा majority से आएंगे. I'll just give you a context for what I'm saying. Is state bani 9.5 years ago. The state was formed 9.5 years ago. When it was formed, there were a lot of doubts. Chala anumanalu, apohalu, sandehalu, bahut sare doubt the. So between all those doubts and between, you know, questions that were being asked about two things: will the state be viable? Will the state survive? And secondly, does this party which has been given a chance, do they have the ability to run a state? Because, you know, they've been agitators. Will they be good administrators? This was the question that was foremost on everybody's mind. And more importantly, one of the other things that was also asked was कि हैदराबाद का क्या होगा? हैदराबाद का क्या होगा? यहाँ पे जो लोग तेलंगाना के बाहर से आके यहाँ सेटल हुए, जैसे आंध्रा से, रायलसीमा से, या कर्नाटक से, गुजरात से, या पंजाब से, बंगाल से, जहाँ कहीं से भी आके यहाँ पे बसने वाले, उनका क्या होगा? ये पार्टी का क्या रवैया होगा? This was one of the most important questions everybody had in mind. If I remember correctly, on the 29th of May 2014, I had conducted an event. This was 3 days before we took office in 2014. We had conducted a session in Taj Krishna with many business groups, and I had made one commitment that this will be a no-nonsense state. We'll focus solely on development and welfare, because दोनों का balance भी बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि अगर welfare नहीं करेंगे तो जो गरीब सेक्शन है सोसाइटी में वो बेचैन हो जाएंगे, रेस्टलेस हो जाएंगे। और इसी स्टेट में हमने इससे पहले देखा कि जब रेस्टलेस हो जाते हैं तो उसका नतीजा भी हमने देखा, नक्सलिज्म, अदर एक्सट्रीमिटीज विच आर नॉट warranted or wanted in a society like India. So therefore, I had mentioned explicitly that we will solve the basic issues, we'll address the basic infrastructure issues. I'm not going to promise you the moon, but we will deliver on a no-nonsense approach. We'll focus on getting the basics right. We will ensure law and order and social harmony prevails. We'll not get into unnecessary nonsense. Now it has been 9.5 years, out of which I also have to tell you, if literally नेट अगर आप बात करेंगे तो हमने काम किया 6.5 years, क्योंकि 2 साल तो कोविड में गया, 2 साल आई थिंक एवरीबडी लॉस्ट दोस 2 वैल्यूबल years in life. Unfortunately, even the government suffered a huge loss, almost 1 लाख करोड़ का लॉस हमें भी हुआ है. और 1 साल लग गया इलेक्शन लड़ने में, बहुत इलेक्शन लड़े इस बीच में, 3 असेंबली इलेक्शन, 2 पार्लियामेंट इलेक्शन, साथ साथ 2 GHMC इलेक्शन. तो अगर आप पूरा अगर इफ यू टेक ऑल ऑफ दैट इनटू अकाउंट, बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ दैट आल्सो disturbs kind of governance and continuity. So we have literally been able to govern only for 6.5 years, because 2 years for COVID and 1 year for these elections, 6.5 years. Now my humble request to all of you, my humble appeal to all of you, what we have done in 6.5 years is in front of you. What others have done in 65 years before us is also in front of you. Please do a compare and contrast. उनको 10 गुना ज्यादा वक्त मिला हमसे, 10 गुना ज्यादा समय मिला हमसे. हमने बस 6.5 years हमें मौका दिया गया. इन 6.5 सालों में मैंने कई सारे टेस्टिमोनियल सुनी कि I can't beat my own drum and blow my own trumpet, but I have to say the facts. Today when my friends come visit, I'm sure this is your experience as well. When my friends or even investors come and visit Hyderabad today, the first thing they always say is, आपकी शहर बहुत सुंदर है, आपका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर काफी अच्छा है, लगता है कि हम इंडिया में नहीं हैं. Even, I'm sure most of you have this. People who have friends, outside of the city, when they come after a while, they've all had the same experience. Foxconn के chairman आए थे. He had come for a lunch meeting with Honorable CM. So when he had come, the first question he asked Chief Minister Garu was, I didn't feel like this was India. What have you done that others have not done? So as the world is recognizing what Hyderabad is, we are definitely, a city that is far superior to others. चेन्नई से सुपरस्टार रजनीकांत आते हैं, उनको लगता है कि थोड़ा वो गच्चीबौली, जुबली हिल्स, आई थिंक ही वेंट अराउंड दैट एरिया एंड ही सेड, मुझे यकीन नहीं हुआ कि मैं हैदराबाद में हूं या न्यूयॉर्क में हूं. तो रजनी को समझ आ रहा है, बट यहाँ के जो हमारे ऑपोजिशन के गजनी है उनको नहीं समझ आ रहा है. मैं क्या करूं? ऑनेस्टली सनी डियोल को समझ आया. सनी डियोल आए, वो बीजेपी के एमपी भी हैं, वो मुंबई से आते हैं. वो कहते हैं कि हैदराबाद इतना खूबसूरत है कि मैं यहाँ घर खरीदना चाहता हूँ, यहाँ बसना चाहता हूँ. एक तेलुगु एक्ट्रेस थी लया करके, वो बस गई जाके यूएस में. वो वापस आती है, वो भी कहती है कि हमारे सैन फ्रांसिस्को और लॉस एंजलिस से अच्छे बिल्डिंग तो यहाँ पे बन रहे हैं. तो द परसेप्टेबल चेंज दैट यू सी इन हैदराबाद इज प्राइमरीली बिकॉज ऑफ वन सिंपल रीजन, स्टेबल गवर्नमेंट एंड एबल लीडरशिप. अगर ये है, डिसाइसिव लीडरशिप है और स्टेबल गवर्नमेंट है, हाँ, मैं ये नहीं कहूंगा, आई वोंट से दैट हमने इसको स्वर्ग बना दिया या कुछ ऐसा कर दिया जो दुनिया में किसी ने नहीं किया. मैं बस इतना ही कहूंगा, हाँ, हम में भी कमियां हैं, हमने भी गलतियां की होंगी, हमें भी कुछ छोटे मोटे इश्यूज हमारे साथ भी रहेंगे. ये नहीं मैं कहता कि हम पिक्चर परफेक्ट हैं, हम कोई गलती नहीं करें, ये नहीं बोलूंगा मैं. हाँ, हमें भी है. देयर आर सर्टेन थिंग्स वी हैव टू इम्प्रूव फॉर श्योर. आई थिंक इट्स पार्ट ऑफ ग्रोथ. Everybody needs to improve. Pursuit of excellence is incessant. Therefore, I liked the theme of BNI today. I like the fact that you said 3.0, Telangana 3.0, because all of us who use smartphones, we periodically get software updates. All of us have to upgrade our phones, otherwise it will become redundant and backward. So therefore, I like the theme 3.0 because I think it's important to learn from the first 10 years and move ahead with all the learnings. One of the most important things that I've learned as Minister for Industry and Technology is, while there has been a significant growth in technology and life sciences, there needs to be a lot more done for SMEs. There needs to be a lot more done from the government side to ensure that, the valley of death that typically SMEs and micro enterprises go through, we need to do more hand-holding. We need to actually have banks on board. We need to get more techno-economic viability studies done. We need to ensure कि छोटे-छोटे जो business हैं, ये survive करें onslaught को और ये छोटे business, क्योंकि अगर आप Germany जैसी देश देखेंगे, तो more than 75% of the industry in Germany is SME, which I think is fascinating. So I think one of the things we ought to do is do that. And second thing, in education, one of the things our children lack today is practical exposure. And that's something I would like to change for next term, where I would want to have an opportunity to have practice school or apprenticeship kind of model where kids actually start working in the industry while they're studying. And by the time they graduate, they should get both course credits and practical exposure so that they're ready to hit the ground running on day one.
So much needed. Thank you. I think all my questions revolve around what you just said just now.
Okay.
But believe me, not only outsiders, when I travel and when I come back to my city, I feel so proud of it. So thank you so much. And having said that, when people feel so proud about the city and so much hype is there about Hyderabad, how can we get global conventions, global people to come to Hyderabad? That will in one way also help the service industry, which, really is, I would say, having to struggle today, because service industry is such an industry where everyone can get in easily with low capital. Everyone can be an entrepreneur. So in DNI, we have a lot of members who are service related. So what do you think, what do you plan to do in the next?
Well, in fact, after COVID, one of the industries that has taken a severe hit is service industry, without a question. But now things are looking good again. Now things are going back to where they were. But one of my biggest priorities for next term will be to focus on social infrastructure for Telangana, not just Hyderabad, for Telangana. Because the potential for tourism, for instance, is immense in Telangana. In fact, if you go around today, the number of new reservoirs that have been created, number of new water bodies that have been created, number of new avenues that have been created, and the fact that people are willing to spend money is something that has not been seen in history in the past. आज कोविड के बाद हर किसी को लग रहा है, आपको स्काईलैब शायद याद होगा, एक टाइम था, थोड़े हम लोग यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बच्चे लग रहे हैं, तो बच्चे दिख रहे हैं, तो मैं स्काईलैब शायद इनको नहीं याद होगा, बट आपको जिनको नहीं मालूम मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ. आपको पता है कि आप हाथ ऊपर कर रहे हैं? अच्छा, गुड. तो स्काईलैब करके क्या हुआ था, एक मैं भी बच्चा था, आई थिंक आई वाज, आई डोंट नो, मे बी 7 or 8 maybe. I remember like not so vividly, but याद है मुझे. Skylab करके, I think it was NASA or somebody who experimented and sent out, the word, like the word itself says, a lab in the sky, Skylab, right? So उन्होंने, they've sent it into the space. और एक rumor ये चल गया कि Skylab fail हो गया और आके यहाँ पे गिरने वाला है. तो क्या हो गया, वहाँ पे मेरे दादा दादी का गांव जो है वो करीमनगर में. आई रिमेंबर स्पेंडिंग टाइम देयर इन समर्स. तो वन समर व्हेन आई वेंट देयर, पूरा गांव में न्यूज़ फैल गया कि स्काईलैब हमारे ही गांव में गिरने वाला है, तो हम लोग रहेंगे बस 10-15 दिन रहेंगे, पूरा तबाह हो जाएगा. सो व्हाई डोंट वी जस्ट एंजॉय करके कुछ लोग ने तो अपना जायदाद बेच दिया, सब कुछ बेच दिया, खाना पीना बस, कुछ और नहीं. दावत कर रहे थे हर दिन की, मरने वाले हैं और क्या करना है. तो फिर 15 दिन के बाद पता चला कि वो जाके बे ऑफ बंगाल में गिर गया. दिस इज नॉट द स्टोरी ऑफ वन विलेज, ट्रस्ट मी व्हेन आई से दिस. एक सिनेमा भी आया इस पे, शायद आपको नहीं पता, बट आई थिंक लॉट ऑफ विलेजेस एंड लॉट ऑफ डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स वर गोइंग थ्रू दैट कि हम लोग मरने वाले हैं, चलो भाई खत्म. तो कोविड के बाद भी एहसास फिर से आ गया कि कोई परमानेंट नहीं है, हम लोग ऐसे जीते हैं जैसे कि हम लोग परमानेंटली यहाँ पे आए धरती पे. बट बहुत लोगों को एहसास हो गया कि भाई लिमिटेड टाइम है, एक्सपायरी डेट लेके हम लोग आए, तो थोड़ा घूमना फिरना है, खर्च भी करना है. तो इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूं, आज घूमना फिरना कहां हो रहा है, कोई सिंगापुर जाता है, कोई मालदीव जाता है, कोई भूटान जा रहा है, कोई और दुबई जा रहा है, कोई और कहीं और जा रहा है. मैं कहता हूं इंडिया में और तेलंगाना में इतना पोटेंशियल है, इतना जबरदस्त पोटेंशियल है. आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल द एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हियर टू स्टार्ट, प्लीज स्टार्ट प्लानिंग एंड लुकिंग एट अपॉर्चुनिटीज विद इन आवर स्टेट एंड आवर कंट्री, बिकॉज देयर इज इनफ एंड मोर. देयर इज रिलीजियस टूरिज्म, there is medical tourism, there is spiritual tourism, there is health tourism, there is wilderness tourism, there is adventure tourism, there is sports tourism. अलग अलग तरह के अगर आप देखेंगे, क्योंकि अगर आप देखेंगे एक तरफ है आदिलाबाद में हमारा कवाल टाइगर रिजर्व, दूसरी तरफ यहाँ पे है अमराबाद टाइगर रिजर्व, एक तरफ कृष्णा है, दूसरी तरफ गोदावरी है, दोनों को लग के काफी सारा जंगल है, विल्डरनेस हम लोग कर सकते हैं. सो वन ऑफ द थिंग्स आई वांट टू क्रिएट, इन फैक्ट again when I am voted back to power and if honorable chief minister is going to give me an opportunity, I will request him for tourism ministry this time because I am keen on promoting this. I am wanting to, because I believe this is one sector that really has a lot of potential. And again, the good thing about tourism is इसमें गवर्नमेंट का पैसा ज्यादा नहीं लगना है. इसमें पीपीपी में हम लोग कर सकते हैं, पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप में. वी कैन इनवाइट लार्ज chains, small chains, medium chains to come set up facilities and work with government. The government will be the enabler और आपको पैसे लगाना है और चलाना है. और लोग आज खर्च करने के लिए तैयार हैं. आज people are willing to spend. Earlier it was not the case. See, one of the things I remember, sir, is that मैं जब पहली बार यूएस गया था 98-99 में, मुझे थोड़ा अजीब सा लगता था कि हर दिन बाहर खा रहे हैं लोग. हर दिन बाहर खाते थे वहां पे, मतलब हर दिन मैकडॉनल्ड्स, हर दिन वेंडीज, हर दिन आरबीज, वो बाकी चेन्स होते हैं वहां पे ज्यादा. तो मैं परेशान था कि यार इंडिया में तो आदत है मेरे घर में खाने की, हर दिन कभी का एक बार बाहर जाते थे, मतलब महीने में एक बार, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. बट देखिए ट्रेंड कैसे बदल रहा है. आज इंडिया में भी हर दिन मेरी बेटी, आज मैं जाता हूँ घर तो कहीं एक दिन शोयू से आ गया कोई खाना, कोई एक दिन कुछ और आ गया. मैं बोले कहाँ से आ रहा है, बोलते स्विगी. आई एम लाइक ओके गुड. So point is, people are eating out, people are ordering in, people are spending, people are willing to experiment. Earlier this was not the situation. So the question you asked regarding service industry and what we can do to help, I would love to sit down with BNI post December 3rd, क्योंकि काफी आइडियाज हैं, काफी सारे आइडियाज हैं, जैसे प्रॉपर्टी टैक्सेस को लेके, इवन अदर टैक्सेस दैट पॉसिबली कैन बी staggered in such a way that it doesn't hit their cash flows. So there are plenty of things we can do to work with each other, especially because they're small and medium enterprises. I'd love to possibly engage with BNI post election where we can have a team, like 5 or 6 people come to me, sit down. I'll call my officers from various departments, taxes, industry, even tourism, etc., and make sure we understand each other's concerns and evolve. Because that's exactly how the TS IPAS, the policy that came out for industry, evolved in this very room. चीफ मिनिस्टर सैट विथ इंडस्ट्री, 7 घंटे बैठ के उन्होंने तय किया कि क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम है. जैसे पावर, वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट कंसर्न्स बैक देन वाज पावर. व्हेन कांग्रेस वाज इन गवर्नमेंट हियर, 3 दिन का पावर हॉलिडे होता था. आज 3 घंटे का भी पावर हॉलिडे आपको नहीं लगता. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट वी नीड टू सॉर्ट आउट. दीज आर द बेसिक्स दैट वी नीड टू एड्रेस बिफोर वी कैन स्टार्ट ड्रीमिंग बिग एंड थिंकिंग बिग. सो आई विल इंश्योर, आई प्रॉमिस यू that a team of 5 or 6 can be constituted from BNI. I will sit with you.
In fact, my next question was supposed to be on tourism, and we have a lot of people in event who would love to be a part of that group and take tourism to new heights, and they feel that there's tremendous potential which is being untapped.
आपने वो साइकिल ट्रैक देखा है 23 किलोमीटर सोलर वाला? मैं वही नहीं, that is just the beginning. पिक्चर अभी बाकी है, वो ट्रेलर है. क्योंकि मैं ये चाहता हूं कि गंडीपेट है, हिमायत सागर है. आई वांट टू डू अ लॉट मोर. वी शुड एब्सोल्युटली यूटिलाइज दिस ब्रिलियंट रिजर्वॉयर्स टू द हिल्ट. मेक श्योर ऑफ कोर्स दे आर नॉट पोल्यूटेड, बिकॉज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंसेन थिंग्स पीपल डू इज वी प्रोवाइड good infrastructure and then it is not maintained and kept properly. मैं बोलूंगा तो शायद मुझे थोड़ा दिक्कत भी होगा इलेक्शन टाइम में, बट फिर भी बोलूंगा. सिविक सेंस बहुत कम है हमें. तो एक चीज इसको बदलना पड़ेगा. इट्स अ कल्चरल थिंग. सेम लोग जो यहाँ पे रोड पे पेपर फेंक देते, सिंगापुर जाते ही सुधर जाते, वो जेब में डाल लेते. आदत से मजबूर है, क्योंकि हमारे एटीट्यूड जो है चल रहा भाई, चलने दो, हैदराबाद एटीट्यूड है. तो इसको थोड़ा सुधरना चाहिए भी. तो वन ऑफ द थिंग्स I'd love to see is, like I said, work on, there are a number of ideas, sir, not one. We can make a Hyderabad theatre district here. मुझे ये मालूम है कि आज एक फैमिली के लिए आउटिंग अगर जाना है हैदराबाद में, तो या तो मॉल जाओ, या सिनेमा जाओ, या कभी का एक बार कोई बॉलिंग एली और समथिंग चले जाओ, या रेस्टोरेंट चले जाओ. इसके अलावा ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है. तो वी नीड अ वाइब्रेंट थिएटर सीन. We need good social infrastructure. We need weekend getaways 1.5, 2 hours away from Hyderabad. We need to create more and more such avenues so that not just Hyderabad, but rural Telangana, hinterland also prospers and does well. Because it is important to also ensure that we create jobs in the rural hinterland. And that's one of the things I also want to appeal. Because BNI is all about medium entrepreneurs and small entrepreneurs. One of the things I would love to share with you guys is, and this is not your question, but I'm digressing. After Telangana formation today, there are 5 revolutions that are unfolding आज आपके सामने. पहला तो यह है कि एक नया green revolution unfold हो रहा है तेलंगाना में because of all the water bodies that have been created. So from 68 lakh metric tons of paddy procurement in 2014, now we are at 3.5 crore metric ton procurement this year. It's a quantum leap. But paddy, it's not just paddy alone. Our cotton quality is the best in the country. We produce mirchi, we produce cotton, we produce maize, we produce soya, we produce sweet lime, we produce groundnut. There's plenty. So one of the first things I'll tell you is, agri revolution जो चल रहा है, इसको लेके हम लोग we are creating special food processing zones in 16 locations in about 10,000 acres. So I want state-of-the-art new rice mills, state-of-the-art agro-processing industries, food processing industries. I don't know if you guys know, but Monain is manufacturing their syrups from Telangana. Likewise, there are a number of others who have set up plants here. Love to see how we can do more in that front and how you guys can participate there. The second revolution that's unfolding right in front of your eyes is a blue revolution. Telangana today is number 1 in inland fisheries. We have 46,000 lakes and tanks. In fact, India's largest aqua hub is coming up in my district, Sirsila, where 370 acres, where in fact we have companies which are focused on creating export potential for, tilapia is a variety of fish that is not consumed here. It is consumed much in the US. यहाँ rear करेंगे cage culture में, उसको ship करेंगे और वहाँ पे मतलब 4 company already sign कर चुकी हैं और एक पूरा का पूरा export potential. Again, this will create 5,000 jobs in the rural Telangana. This is the second revolution, blue revolution, which you should look at. The third is a pink revolution. Pink is not my party revolution. Of course, that is also coming. But pink revolution is meat processing. Because of a very interesting program on sheep rearing, our livestock number has doubled in Telangana today. So we are also focused on meat processing. इससे पहले 600 लॉरी आती थी बैंगलोर से और कहीं और जगह से, महाराष्ट्र से, हैदराबाद के जो कट्टल मंडी है, वहाँ पे 600 लॉरी में गोट और शीप आते थे. बट अभी शायद इसमें ज्यादा वेजिटेरियन ज्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा. हाँ, तो मीट प्रोसेसिंग जो है, मीट प्रोसेसिंग इज अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्टर फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ द कंट्री and also rest of the world. Again, a huge potential for those of you who are interested in that. The fourth revolution is white revolution, dairy. The state dairy which was in losses, Vijaya Dairy, has now become profitable, is giving a dividend back to the government. But dairy is a fantastic field to be in, because when I used to be, an employee of a company called Intra, I remember there was this one company, New Zealand Dairy Board, which alone contributes to 8% of GDP of New Zealand. One company. So इतना बड़ा opportunity है. मतलब dairy products इतने हैं और हम लोग सारे के सारे चीज आज, आप भी देखो, अगर दुबई जाते हो तो बच्चों के लिए क्या लाते हैं आप? स्विस चॉकलेट, बेल्जियम चॉकलेट, फलाना ठिकाना. इंडिया में क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? Why can't we produce our own version of chocolates? Why can't we do our own dairy products? Why can't we do more of that? We have fantastic dairy farmers. We have state-of-the-art facilities. We have governments who are wanting to support. But it might not be a very glamorous field for some of you. But I think it's a fantastic opportunity. White revolution in the offing is another thing you look at. You should look at. And the fifth revolution is a yellow revolution. What's yellow revolution? Oil palm. आज जो हम लोग palm oil use करते हैं food में, 78% is imported from Malaysia and Indonesia. Now, that is one thing we are trying to change. We're encouraging farmers to go for oil palm cultivation. Already 12 companies have been set up, which are going to procure from the farmers. I have laid the foundation for about 6 of them in the last couple of months. 20 lakh acres is what we would like to see under oil palm cultivation. It's a fantastic crop. Basically, एक बार plant कर दो, तो almost 35 years तक आपको कुछ नहीं करना है. चौथे साल से, from the 4th year, you will get a monthly income of rupees 12,000 per acre. It's almost like, basically getting a salary. So अगर आपके पास 10 acre है, you will be getting 1,20,000 per month, and it's a 35-year long crop. that requires very little power, very little water, very, very useful, and a buyback arrangement with the company. So these 5 revolutions in the hinterland, green, blue, pink, yellow, white. These are 5 sectors I would urge you to look at because there are enough and more business opportunities. Business ideas, sir, are not something that we should be like thinking about. बैठ के एकदम 2 घंटे मेडिटेशन करके बिजनेस के बारे में नहीं सोचना है. ट्रैविस के उबर के फाउंडर आए थे, ट्रैविस करके. ट्रैविस कलानिक इज द फाउंडर ऑफ उबर. सो इट कम टू हैदराबाद. तो मैंने उनसे पूछा, भाई तुम्हारा आइडिया कहां से आया, तुम बताओ. तो उसने इतना साफ सीधा मतलब डायरेक्टली बताया मुझे. आई वाज ज़ैप्ड. ही सेड हम लोग, मैं और मेरे एक दोस्त 2008 और 9 में हम लोग गए थे पेरिस में, कहीं पब में गए थे. बाहर निकले 2-2:30 बज गया. फिर रोड में हम लोग थे, रोड पे. तो हम लोग टैक्सी को रोक रहे थे, बहुत कोशिश कर रहे थे, कोई नहीं रुक रहा था. फिर अब मेरा फ्रेंड ने कहा, अरे कितना जबरदस्त होता कि अगर एक बटन दबा देते तो टैक्सी आ जाता, कितना जबरदस्त होता. तो उसमें से निकला उबर. मेरा कहने का ये मतलब है कि हम लोग जब नए नए बिजनेस के बारे में सोचते हैं, बहुत दिमाग लगाते हैं, बहुत मेहनत करते हैं कि कुछ अलग करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है. कुछ ना करो, आराम से बैठो, सोचो कि डेली पेन पॉइंट क्या है, पीपल का पेन पॉइंट क्या है. जो बाहर जो हो रहा है, बाहर जो हम देखते हैं यूएस में, वेस्ट में, वो अगर यहां करना है तो कैसे करें. One of the things you could do is that, because on the growth curve, on the learning curve, on the raising curve, we are lagging behind. तो जो आज यूएस में है, हम लोग शायद 25 साल या 30 साल पीछे हैं उनके. तो आज जो जो आपको देखने को मिल रहा है वहां पे, अगर वही चीज यहाँ पे करना है तो कैसे करें और कितना जल्दी करें और क्या लर्निंग हम लोग वहां से ला सकते हैं. So my point is basically that.
100%. I totally agree. All the 5 revolutions which you have mentioned about. In fact, the best thing is the kind of information you have. You can only do development when you have that kind of information and know about our state in so much detail. On a lighter side, earlier we used to say about politicians is, बर्बाद गुलिस्तान करने को बस एक ही उल्लू काफी है. हर शाख पे उल्लू बैठा
एक है आज हिंदुस्तान में.
You make it look like bed of roses. Frankly, it's like something on that front I would like to say, like कांटों से गुजर जाता हूं.
आप एक बात समझ लो, मैंने कहा एक है और सब लोग हंस रहे हैं, पता नहीं किसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं.
नहीं, but about you, कांटों से गुजर जाता हूं दामन को बचाकर. फूलों की सियासत से मैं बेगाना नहीं हूं. So that's something which I really appreciate.
फूलों की सियासत से बेगाना नहीं हूं.
मैं बेगाना नहीं हूं. So
wow.
I'm very well versed with
Thank you so
what
much.
you do, and you'll make it look like a bed of roses.
Appreciate.
So I would want to know, what are your political aspirations? What personally KT Rama Rao wants to be?
The first things, I think individuals don't matter in the large scheme of things because it's always about institutions. Our leader tells us one thing. He says, build institutions that outlast individuals, build processes that outlast people. Because no individual is indispensable. अगर किसी को लगता है कि मेरे बगैर देश नहीं चलेगी, मेरे बगैर स्टेट नहीं चलेगी, तो बेवकूफ है, पहली बात तो. और दूसरी बात यह है सर कि if you institutionalize the change that you want to see, then it will outlast you. Because see, like I said, I have a philosophical outlook towards this. None of us is here permanently. हम लोग कब निकल जाएं किसी को नहीं पता. So we should ensure that while we are here, while we've been given an opportunity, to do our best. Honestly, I'll have to tell you, sir, I have never thought in my wildest of dreams that I will become a legislator. मैं बस आया था ऐसे ही, gate crash कर गया मैं, without telling my father. I just resigned to my job. It was a very well-paying job back then, in 2004. Resigned, joined politics in 2006, and fortunately, people have blessed me, and now I won 4 elections. Never thought I would be an MLA. Never ever thought I would be a minister, because my dream was, our dream was, collective dream was, to see that Telangana becomes a reality, and that's about it. उसके बाद कोई सपना नहीं था. आज बोनस है, जो भी मिल रहा है बोनस है. आज जब मिनिस्टर हूँ, काम कर रहा हूँ, और जिस दिन तक मुझे मतलब ब्लेसिंग मिलेगी of the people and of my leader, will continue to work. No such tall aspirations. मैं मतलब चीफ मिनिस्टर, प्राइम मिनिस्टर, ऐसी कोई एस्पिरेशन नहीं है. जहां है वहां खुश है. मुझे दिल्ली वैसे पसंद नहीं है. मुझे हैदराबाद अच्छा लगता है. हैदराबाद में ही रहूंगा जब तक रहूंगा.
Thank you so much. And One more question is, you promote IT so much that everyone wants to work for big giants and work from home, make money. So what is happening is today, people coming out of colleges want to be in IT. So people who, like MSMEs, are really finding it difficult to find talent. And if we can, just like T-Hub, make some hubs for MSMEs where they can get training, financial assistance, financial management, HR, and stuff like that, it will be a great help for all of us. Is there something which you can think of?
The first thing I'll tell you is technology has become all pervasive. आज आपके हाथ में जो स्मार्टफोन है वो खुद एक कंप्यूटर है. तो आज कौन वाकिफ नहीं है टेक्नोलॉजी से, आप तो ये नहीं कर पाओगे. आपका ड्राइवर, आपके जो ऑफिस बॉय है, आपके जो सबऑर्डिनेट है, वो मे नॉट बी वेरी वेल रेड और वेल एजुकेटेड. Even they know how to use technology and how to engage with it. In today's world, if you do not engage with technology or the applications of technology, I think you will be lost. I mean, you'll be left behind. I understand your question. I'll come to it. My first point I'm trying to make is the realization that tech adoption is useful. I mean, not everybody needs to become a programmer and a coder. मुझे programming लिखना नहीं है, coding करना नहीं है. मैं भी नहीं लिख सकता, मैं भी नहीं कर सकता. But what is important for us to realize is that the technology quotient that you need to know. You know, जैसा IQ था, now TQ आ गया, tech quotient. Now TQ is important for you to survive and thrive. Everybody, small business, big business, medium business, आपको जरूरी है बहुत. Number one. दूसरी बात जो आपने कहा, सही मैं सहमत हूँ. I completely agree, sir. That you know, like I said, I think the focus on small and medium, especially in manufacturing and service sector. What I will tell you is we've created 3 or in fact 7 or 8 different institutions which will outlast me. T-Hub is one such, V-Hub is another, T-Works is another. And for those of you who are not familiar, my humble request is आपकी अगली BNI meeting, हम तैयार हैं, I'm open to you. If you can host it in one of these institutions, it will be useful for you, useful for me, useful for the state.
Wow.
I will request Jayesh Ranjan. Jayesh Ranjan will help you in hosting it there, any of these institutions. We've also built a number of other institutions like TASK, Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge. We've also built fantastic institutions like TSIC, the Telangana State Innovation Cell. We've built another institution called RICH, Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad. ये अगर आप जाके इनके साथ बैठेंगे, समझेंगे, तो आपको एहसास होगा कि काफी कुछ किया गया है. Maybe some of the answers you're looking for are already there. Or alternatively, what we can also do is, in fact, just the other day, Dalit entrepreneurs, wanted to do something on their own and wanted to, set up a large-scale facility to promote diversity and inclusion, which I think is fantastic. Today companies like Salesforce have a chief diversity officer so that, people of all hues and shades join the business and join the growth story. So one of the important things we can do as BNI and government is possibly conceptually think of something where we can collaborate, work together. It need not be exclusive. We can open it to others as well, and then create something, because you understand the pain points better than me. Probably you, FITAPC and others can collaborate, come out with a model, and then we can work together and create an institution that helps. Because today one of the biggest challenge MSMEs face that I've witnessed personally, and in fact I've created a very interesting institution called as the Industrial Health Clinic. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. IHC, the Telangana Industrial Health Clinic, it's one of its kind in India. The intent of IHC was to support SMEs. SMEs को हम लोग क्या करते हैं ना, basically अगर बड़े-बड़े लोग, मैं नाम नहीं लेना चाहता, but बड़े-बड़े लोग और बड़े-बड़े कंपनीज अगर डिफॉल्ट कर जाती हैं हजारों करोड़ों के लोन पे, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता. उनका तो लोन वेवर हो जाता है, पता नहीं क्यों हो जाता है. But small companies, if you default on 2 payments, bank will immediately christen you as an NPA, non-performing asset, और तीसरे महीने चौथे महीने आपको सिक डिक्लेयर किया जाता है, वहां पे खत्म हो जाता है. तो हम इंडस्ट्रियल हेल्थ क्लिनिक इसीलिए चालू किए थे, शुरू किए थे कि जो इंसिपिएंट सिकनेस बोलते हैं ना, मतलब आप सिक बनने से पहले थोड़ा जो इनिशियल स्टेज होता है इंसिपिएंट स्टेज में, इफ यू आर एबल टू स्पॉट इट, वर्क विद द एंटरप्रेन्योर, work with the banks, because banks unfortunately are imposing this SARFAESI Act recklessly and ruthlessly. उनको लगता है कि छोटे बिजनेस और इजी प्रे, तो इनके पीछे पड़ो, और इनको इजी कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है, बेसिकली कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है, इसलिए so we can go after them. What Industrial Health Clinic does is to look at incipient SIG companies, go through a techno-economic viability study, work with the banks on restructuring loans, on making sure they understand what to do, and then work with the entrepreneur to ensure that the business survives. Some funding support is required from financial institutions. That also can be provided. So, if we can structure something together on these lines and maybe more, I think we can truly come up with a winner.
Like I said, if we can bridge the gap and BNI can support being, there are so many initiatives which people don't know about. If that can be voiced through BNI, that will be great help to all our members and all the MSMEs of the state.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm welcome that.
So, anything on youth and women entrepreneurs?
Well, for women entrepreneurs, we do two things. I'll come to the youth in a minute. For women entrepreneurs, we do two things. Of course, we have a VHub which handholds a lot of young women, and I'm proud of the work VHub has done. Truly astounding work. Some of the entrepreneurs I meet there are doing truly cutting-edge work, and I'm truly delighted at the success they've had. Again, I'd love to see how the young women of BNI can actually have an exposure visit to VHub and see what can be done. Deepthi is here somewhere, I think. You can work with, Deepthi and her team, because it's a brilliant institution that has been created. Of course, has to be utilized more effectively and has to ensure that creates more opportunities for young women. We also have created 3 industrial parks exclusively for women. We have one in Sultanpur and 2 more, one in Nandigam and one more, I can't recall the name right now. But 3 industrial parks exclusively for women entrepreneurs have been created. More importantly, in every industrial park, we have a quota for women. We have a quota for Dalits. We have a quota for marginalized, people from marginalized backgrounds and sections. We also have a quota for the physically disabled. So we ensure that inclusivity is an important ingredient of our industrialization policy. What we could also look at in future is how we can create more and more of these entities in the hinterland. I'm more focused on ensuring more opportunities are created in the rural Telangana. And on the youth part, I think, the most important realization that has to dawn on the governments and everybody else across the country is, honestly, today we are who we are because of this demographic dividend that we are reaping today. 65% of India is less than the age of 35, and I think that's our biggest strength today. Those are the guys who are really creating our resources, generating resources, amplifying our revenues, and really keeping the Indian flag flying high across the world as well. So where do I start? I mean, there are enough and more opportunities, just that the social conditioning needs to change. हमें बचपन से ही बोला जाता है कि रिस्क नहीं लो, डेट लेना, कर्ज ना लो, और तेलुगु में अगर बोलूं तो अप्पू जैसी पप्पू कोड दिनोद्दू, మీరు తాహతుకు మించి అప్పు చేయొద్దు, ये सब बोला जाता है. और एक और चीज भी बताया जाता है बार बार हमें कि इंडिया में 2 ही चीज करो, या तो डॉक्टर बनो या इंजीनियर बनो. ज्यादातर ये लोग यही बोलते हैं. So one of the things that needs to happen among the society, in the society as well, is how this conditioning, this thinking, the entrepreneurship is fraught with risk. How can we tackle it? Because not everybody can get a government job. Not everybody can even become, a private sector employee. There are a lot of youngsters who have stars in their eyes for whom we have created a number of institutions, but there's not enough, that we can do. I think it's more about, for instance, the first company to have shipped a rocket into the sky was a T-Hub incubator called a Skyroot, which I think is a fascinating story if you ask me. The first Indian company. Even Elon Musk had to try thrice for SpaceX. But Skyroot did it in the first attempt. Likewise, Dhruva Space, another Hyderabad company, they sent out nanosatellites into the orbit in the first attempt. So these are fantastic stories. I mean, I'm not talking just Kirana stores and, the typical businesses. I'm talking space tech to groceries and FMCGs. I mean, you have to cover the whole gamut. I'm saying nothing is beyond the realm of impossible, beyond the realm of possible. So I think our youngsters have to realize that आज जो हम लोग product use करते हैं, Instagram, Snap, or even Twitter and other things, none of these are rocket sciences. These are very simple products, even WhatsApp, very simple product, just that somebody else had an idea before us. So therefore, they've made $19 billion, selling a simple tool like WhatsApp to Facebook. So we need to figure out such ideas. We need to come out with such, simpler effective solutions which will continue to keep the pot boiling.
Gaming is a big industry, so any plans for that, for the...
Gaming में थोड़ा एक मसला भी है कि I've seen in this very city, in fact, some people who've become addicts and they start betting, they start, card clubs was a thing, 10 साल पहले Hyderabad में भी card clubs was a big thing. And I know of people who've lost their lives and who've sold their properties in these card clubs.
Not that kind of gaming.
No, I understand. The question is, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Because the line is, it's a very thin line. Gaming में क्या होता है? मैं online रमी कोई बोलता है it's a game of skill. मैं बोलता हूँ हाँ, but so you have to figure out. I don't play cards. In fact I hate cards. So I personally I have nothing against it, but there is a very thin line you have to draw. So if it does not involve betting, because I'm sure people are betting even on the World Cup, people are betting on elections. I know.
Okay, let me cut that question. And so
आप bet कर रहे हो?
I'm betting on you.
Thank you. That's a great line. You have a winner.
So, as BNI, we have, sponsored 45 free seats for the T Hub, whoever is, coming out, entrepreneurs from there. And we would like to do a lot more and be include ourselves into the growth of Telangana. So, any areas you think we should, we can collaborate?
There's plenty. I mean, where do I start? There's plenty to work on because, you guys are all about entrepreneurship. You guys are all about creating employment and wealth for the state and the country. And I think that, in our country, wealth creators are not respected enough, honestly. Wealth creators and entrepreneurship is not respected enough. In the world, elsewhere in the West, an entrepreneur is looked at with respect. The entrepreneur even has become, most of them have become poster boys. People admire Zuckerberg, people admire Larry, people admire Sergey. There's so many other people, who have become really poster boys. But in India, कोई आदमी जब पैसा बनाता है उसको मतलब शक की नजरिए से देखते हैं. So we need to change that bit of a mindset also. Start, respecting our entrepreneurs, making them our poster boys and poster girls, so that more and more youngsters come into this line of activity. Entrepreneurship is a culture. You have to admire Gujaratis for that. One thing, Gujaratis from a very early age, and even Marwadis in the country anywhere. No, seriously. Because even our chief minister says when we launch some programs, entrepreneurship is inculcated in these guys from a very young age. उनको बोला जाता है कि 16-17 की उम्र में आप आ जाओ और join हो जाओ, काम सीख लो, which is a good thing because end of the day, the question that a youngster needs to ask himself or herself is, do I work for myself or should I work for somebody else? And end of the day, that's an individual choice. But we can certainly, there are a number of areas where we can work together. Like I said, we can constitute like 5-6 people, team from BNI that can work with us, and we can pick and choose those areas.
What are the 5 sectors you think we should be focusing on?
Well, my dream is, like I said, tourism is one area which I would love to see more and more happen. Second thing I would focus on is sporting infrastructure because मुझे उम्मीद है कि इंडिया को एक मौका मिलेगा ओलंपिक्स होस्ट करने के लिए और मैं चाहता हूं कि हैदराबाद में होस्ट हो. That is one thing I'd love to see. The third thing is, I think, a combination of education and skilling because, this is an area where we can't have enough because the biggest strength of us, our country, our state is the youngsters. But if you harness that potential properly and make sure that they are skilled, because मुझे बहुत लोग पूछते हैं, मैं जब बोलता हूं उनको कि 3 लाख थे IT एम्प्लॉइज आज 10 लाख हो गए तो काफी सारे लोग पूछते हैं उसमें तेलंगाना वाले कितने हैं. अरे यार जब पाए बड़ा करो, you continue to grow the pie and you skill yourself and up your skill, you will get an opportunity. ऐसा एक्सक्लूसिव अगर बना दोगे, बोलोगे कि नहीं यहाँ पर इसमें लोकल रिजर्वेशन लाओ, तो शायद वो गलत है. तो मैं इसीलिए कह रहा हूँ कि स्किलिंग और एजुकेशन का जो कॉम्बिनेशन, जो अभी मैं कह रहा था आपसे, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में भी अप्रेंटिसशिप होना चाहिए, प्रैक्टिस स्कूल होना चाहिए. Now, this is another sector I would love to see more and more happen. The fourth area is, of course, healthcare, because the out-of-pocket expenditure on healthcare is something that we've worked consciously on in the last 10 years. We've done well. There are free diagnostics now, free dispensaries, basti dawakhanas. We need to do more because we are building more hospitals now in Telangana. In Hyderabad alone, we are building 4 Telangana Institute of Medical Sciences. We are building a medical college in each and every district. All of this is going to help. And I would love to see how technology can be a game changer. want to do electronic medical records of each individual, ensure that in the golden hour some lives are saved. And the fifth and last thing I want to do, I'd love to see, is more and more entrepreneurship coming from my state. I've said this to Modi ji as well when he had called me. He had called all of us political party leaders on the eve of 75th year of independence. I said 3 ingredients that are important: innovation, infrastructure, inclusive growth. Agar ye तीनों हैं तो India by 2047 will surely become first world country.
100%.
Thank you.
Now, if you have some time, I will throw it open to the crowd. If they have some questions, I will just take 1 or 2 questions, please. So, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Can you pass the mic?
Use your lung power. I think we have only 5 minutes because I'm going to Mancherial and Khanapur, so please keep it direct and simple.
Yeah, I am Santosh from Sunvian Technologies. Actually, the IT industry, okay, you developed all the IT industries in Kokapet and Gachibowli, High-Tech City, right? So I would like to tell that if you develop in the whole city, like for example, Patancheru Mandal, Uppal, there is an IT industry, the Infosys is there in Pocharam, but like
I got the question. You're talking about growth in dispersion.
Yeah.
You're talking about staggering it all over. Unfortunately, the buildings in Kokapet and Gachibowli have become so beautiful that nobody wants to move out of there. What do I do? I'm trying very hard. I'm trying very hard. I'm trying very hard to take people away from the western part because it is decongesting the city as well. बहुत कोशिश कर रहा हूँ ऊपर ले जाने की, कोम्पल्ली ले जाने की. I'm trying my level best, and I'm even giving them value proposition. I'm saying lesser taxes, lesser real estate prices, and your employees anyway apply there. I think the solution is most likely in metro. I'm going to expand metro in the next term. The idea is to make it in the next 10 years, take it to 400 kilometers, and that possibly will answer. That possibly will be an answer.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Sir, good morning, KTR garu. Na peru Shekhar Dayam. I am into hosiery business. Memu different jockey, vans and different brands deal చేస్తాము. అలాగే పేజ్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ ను కూడా హైదరాబాద్ లో మీరు తేవడానికి ప్రయత్నిస్తున్నారు. అలాగే డిఫరెంట్ బ్రాండ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. లైక్ మనము యుఎస్ బ్రాండ్ ని చేస్తున్నాము. అది మేక్ ఇన్ ఇండియా కాన్సెప్ట్ లాగా మన దగ్గరనే మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ చేయడానికి మీరు ఏమైనా చూస్తారు?
ఏది మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ అన్నారు?
లైక్ పేజ్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ ఉన్నది కదా సార్, పేజ్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ లైక్ జాకీ హైదరాబాద్ లో లైక్ మీరు ఆల్రెడీ ప్లానింగ్ లో ఉన్నారు. సో అది ఏ విధంగా చేయదలుచుకుంటున్నారు? లైక్ మేక్ ఇన్ ఇండియాలో
అంటే అల్టిమేట్ గా మేక్ ఇన్ ఇండియా ఫర్ ఇండియానా, మేక్ ఇన్ ఇండియా ఫర్ ద వరల్డ్ అనే దాని మీద ఉంటుంది. అంటే ఒకవేళ ఇఫ్ ఇట్స్ యూనివర్సల్ బ్రాండ్, అంతర్జాతీయ బ్రాండ్ అయితే then we have to get into a contract manufacturing kind of mode like Page does. Otherwise, what can happen is, if you want to build your brand for India, there's plenty of scope. Just that you have to apply yourself a bit more. Yeah, guys, I really have to run. I'm going to Mancherial and Khanapur, so I'm flying out. So thank you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful insight about. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I'd like to invite Sanjana to come and felicitate